And I did come into a far different world than these ladies, and the reason I did is because of these ladies. And I think we need to, I want to thank you right now for paving the way and being pioneers so that people like myself and Captain Cogan can reap the benefits of those changes, because change takes time. It takes time to move organizations and to move society into accepting different things. And because of women like this, we've been able to seize a different and more diverse range of possibilities. So I thank you very, very much. All of us have a story, and they're all unique and different. And for me, I went to an air show when I was 5 years old, and I met my first love, known as the F-4 Phantom. I saw it flying. I could hear it, see it, smell it, feel it. Your chest rumbled when it went by, and I thought it was absolutely the neatest thing a 5-year-old gal could ever expect and experience. And that's when I set my sights on going to the United States Air Force Academy. And I had a very single-track mind, because at 5 years old I said I'm going to be a fighter pilot, and my dad said, well, you'll be a great fighter pilot. And I had no idea that legally women weren't allowed to fly fighter aircraft. And I kind of went through my life telling all of my friends I was going to be a fighter pilot. In 6th grade, I told my teacher at a presentation of what I was going to be when I grew up and how I was going to get there. That was what we were supposed to talk on. I stood up and I said, I'm going to be a fighter pilot. And in front of my whole class, he told me to sit down and come back when I had something more realistic. And I went home in tears, and I went home crying, and I told my dad, who promptly left. I don't know where he went or what happened, but I would love to find my 6th grade teacher today. But the point of the story is really that I am where I am because of the support of my family and my friends, and because I've always taken an active stance in choosing to surround myself with positive people. There's always going to be naysayers and the doubters, but I think if you really look around, you'll realize that you have a lot of people who support you and believe in you. And that's how I got to the Air Force Academy, and I went off to pilot training at Columbus Air Force Base in Mississippi. I was lucky enough to have the choice of any aircraft in the United States inventory. Put myself in a position at graduation to do that, and that's a bizarre feeling, because you've worked so hard and you've wanted this since you were 5 years old, and they go, hey, you want an F-15, an A-10, an F-16, B-1, B-52, what would you like to fly? By this time, the F-4 Phantom had been retired, and I liked it because of its multi-role mission, and I really prefer, even today, the air-to-ground mission, just for myself, and so they had replaced it with the F-15E Strike Eagle. So I went off to fly that in 3 operational fighter squadrons, got qualified, obviously all the way up to instructor pilot, etc. I flew in Operation Deliberate Forge over Kosovo, and that's where I got my first combat experience. And when I went into my first squadron, the truth is that it wasn't exactly the most welcoming environment. The gentlemen, my brothers, had never experienced this before, and I think fear of the unknown can cause people to think different things. Somehow a woman flying an aircraft takes away from their experience, or maybe somehow fighter squadrons won't have the same camaraderie, etc., that they had before. And it was really hard at that time, because I was trying to learn to fly, as a young lieutenant. I'm 23 years old, to fly one of the most advanced fighters, and I'm trying to keep a stiff upper lip, and I did because I sought out the people who were supportive. I did because I knew why I chose to do this, which was to serve my country. I didn't do this for anybody else. I did it for being a part of something bigger than myself. And what's turned out and what's transformed in these last 12 years is that nowadays it's no big deal for a gal to walk into a fighter squadron. And I'm proud to be part of that change for this next generation that's coming in, because the aircraft is I think I have the coolest job. The aircraft is the greatest equalizer I can think of. People can be naysayers, but if your bombs are on target, on time, or you go up and dogfight one of the naysayers and they're out there and you're gunning them, they can't really say much because it's all on tape. So, so I enjoyed that. My most proud moment in the United States Air Force was leading the only 2-ship of fighter aircraft allowed over Baghdad on their historic election day. And I had the privilege of watching wonderful, courageous Iraqi people stand in line to do something that, literally risking their lives to stand in line, to do something that we as Americans take for granted too often, which is to take the opportunity to vote. And that is really my proudest moment. And I was over there in Iraq the last time, and I said, this is an amazing military. These men and women, the soldiers and the Marines on the ground that I was providing close air support, were so inspiring. And I decided I want to go spread that word. And so I applied for the United States Air Force Thunderbirds, because I thought it was the best opportunity to interact with people and share the Air Force story. I had no idea when I applied that they hadn't had a woman pilot. I never wanted to be a Thunderbird. I knew they were out there, and that was for other people to do. And I thought, I'll put my hat in the ring. And a woman hadn't been selected before, and I was, wow. Once I got selected, I realized what a big deal it was to some people. And ignorance is bliss, I will tell you that, because the amount of attention and such that flowed in, the extra pressure, I will say, was extremely difficult at the beginning. But I'd like to echo what the lady next to me said, which was the reason that I made it through and the reason I've been successful to this point is because of the rapport and the support of my brothers in the uniform. Everyone thinks, oh, the men must be keeping you down. If that was true, I wouldn't be where I'm at. All right, so know that. And now I've seized an awesome opportunity to be a White House Fellow. So I am currently serving as a White House Fellow. I've got some of my classmates over here. Thank you for coming. I'm happy to talk about the fellowship later. And my job is to work at the office of the President-elect. And so that I was able to steal away for a few hours today to spend with you was pretty much miraculous because it is absolutely crazy over there right now.
Major, what happens after your White House Fellowship?
Well, after the White House Fellowship, I will go back to, I'm active duty, so I'm probably going to go fly an awesome desk at the Pentagon for a year. And after that, I just go right back into the Air Force like any other major. And I hope to someday return to flying the F-15E here, hopefully in the next 2 or 3 years.